If you're having an attack of the hungries right now, you're in luck. Subway's still open.
You're watching Channel 5.
It is a society unto itself, with a population of more than 1 million Americans. A world where crime is the ticket in and time served is the way out, where fear often replaces privacy. Tonight, the view from inside, the experience of living, eating, and sleeping as a convict. Tonight, check your freedom at the door of the Tutwiler Prison for Women.
This is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
It is one of our great frustrations in television news. Those of us who appear on the air a great deal can influence the way a story develops, sometimes simply by showing up, by being well known. Nor do we travel lightly. We come with a camera person and a sound technician. They bring a lot of gear. The appearance of the people and the equipment all influence the flow and development of a story. With all of that in mind, one of our producers, Deanna Lee, volunteered to spend some time among the inmates of a women's penitentiary in Alabama. She went in with an 8mm video camera, like this one. Some of you probably own one just like it. Deanna is not a professional camera person, nor did she bring any special lighting or microphones into the prison. The sound and picture that you will hear and see are not as good as you or we might have wished. But to an incredible degree, Deanna has managed to show us what it is like and how it feels to be in prison. Obviously, neither the guards nor the prisoners ever forgot during the 11 days that she was inside who Deanna is or why she was there. But this may be as close as most of us will ever get to understanding what it's like to be in prison. A couple of additional notes. When Deanna is talking directly to the camera, she rested it on something nearby. Our debriefing came on the day that she came out of Tutwiler.
When you walked in the door the first day, what was going through your head?
I was really intimidated. I was really scared because I'd basically been getting myself all worked up for 24 hours. The day before I went in, I was asking myself maybe once every 5 minutes as I was running around buying clothes for this, buying different toiletry articles, why am I doing this? This is not brave, it is stupid.
I broke out in hives when I first got here, and they said it was my nerves. I thought something had got on me and beat me or something maybe, but they said, no, it's just your nerves, because I had seen movies on TV or where women had been getting raped and stuff like that, and I thought maybe that I would have to go through that,
Being told the horror stories of prison, I flipped out. I mean, I had a breakdown and tried to commit suicide 4 times before I got here.
Even inside these walls, this is its own little world. That's why we call that the free world out there. And this is inside.
The air seems different. Like that. It's psychological, but it is different. This is a different world. It's a totally different environment than out there.
It's not easy for a new inmate to learn the rules of prison life. You're more or less dependent on other women to show you the ropes.
The most precious, probably, possession you got to hold on to is your toilet paper, would you say?
You're right.
Why is that? How much do you get?
You get around my 5 rolls every month.
And what happens if you need to use more than that?
You're in trouble.
You don't know anybody, and all of a sudden you've got to take showers with people you've never seen before. After the first shower shock, after you're out on the hall, an officer just walked in, and I was taking a shower, and this guy just walked in, and I said, oh, God. I turned around backwards, and I died. It was terrible.
Sometimes it takes you right at a month to know exactly what bail is what bail. 3 short bail, ... means that they move in death row. You always know the count bail, though. Count bail is ...
It's like you computerized. You know what I mean? You know exactly when it's going to do this, exactly when it's going to do that. You know, people, they even got to take you on your beds no more. You know, you just jump on your bed. Well, it's 7 o'clock. Let me get on my bed. You know, that's what I do now. It's pitiful.
The one rule established for me was that I had to wear colored clothing. The inmates thought this was a mistake.
When I came here, I felt like I was being put in an insane asylum white. And I just didn't think you'd get the full effect of the culture shock to being able to wear your own clothes. Plus, the guards would still distinguish you as someone different. In white, I think they'd forget who you are. Do you think so?
Oh, yeah, totally. But as many of you inmates have suggested to me, maybe that was the point, that they don't want to confuse me with you.
And we wanted them to.
Each bed is really called, you call them your houses, right? As small as it is, but it's all you got. Yeah, it's all you have.
Not all prison houses are the same. This is called the Freedom Dorm for women who are disciplinary free. Residents here can live in cubicles with special privileges. Still, the dorm is Tutwiler's largest, housing 104 inmates. Like all the dorms, it is filled to capacity.
When I came here in '84, there was 350 women. There is nearly 700 now. So there's a big, you know, the dorms are just packed.
It's just hardest on me, been around all these people. Being so close, like today, I have been really depressed. I've been crying since 5 o'clock this morning. But yet I can't find nowhere to go to cry by myself.
Privacy would be the most precious commodity in prison, if it existed here. It wasn't until the end of the second day that I was able to find 15 square feet just to myself.
I've been trying to catch a moment alone so that I can just jot down some of my thoughts here, and it's pretty hard. Everybody's always coming up to me. Even an officer just sat down and talked with me when I tried to start this. Anyway, I wanted to outline some of my worst moments so far. The first bad moment I had was my first meal here. I've eaten a lot of bad food. I can eat a lot of food, and it doesn't always matter what it is. First meal I had here, I thought, I cannot do this for 2 weeks.
This has changed my whole way of thinking about that. I can go out there and eat anywhere now, you know, on mountain, as long as it ain't moving.
After working kitchen duty, I was no more impressed with the food I made than with the food I had been forcing down. The meat was a sort of soybean meal patty that could have been liver or beef or even pork. Chicken was different, but no more appetizing. The egg product comes in a cardboard container as frozen yellow liquid. Still, some meals were better than others. This one was given a B+ rating.
Noodles, cookies, and Jell-O together. Now we don't have 2 sweets together.
So why are you having it now?
Because you're here, sweetheart. Because you're here.
Worst moments include not getting mail, surprisingly enough. Mail call is a big deal here. I just think I look at these women and I'm actually jealous that they're getting mail.
That's my nephew Nate. She went for Little Miss Q Jam.
You need that connection with that world out there, because without that world, it's like you're totally thrown into another world and you're disconnected with everything and everybody. And if you don't get that mail from family or somebody that, you know, you was close to out there in the free world, it's like you've just been totally rejected from that world altogether. Nobody cares about you anymore.
Connected to that is the fact that, you know, you can't call easily. I can't call the company 800 number. I can only call collect. Yesterday, after waiting in line 20 minutes each time to call the office twice, whoever answered the phone in the New York Nightline office would not accept my calls. And I cannot tell you the sinking feeling and the mad feeling that I got when those calls could not go through.
And it's frustrating when you can't reach anyone.
What does it make you feel like? I know what it makes me feel like.
I just want to tear the phone out the wall. And I'm amazed there's not more violence, because there's so many things we have lost total control over.
I mean, there were times when you call and I'd be kind of busy and I'd say, no, I can't cut off, because it was really there in your voice. You know, I need to talk to someone.
You're so terribly dependent to the point where you're my eyes are welling up because my mother will only talk to me for 30 seconds, or because a call isn't coming through, or because we're having a wonderful conversation, I'm liking it, but I know you probably have to get off. You're not independent anymore. I was definitely a different person in there.
When we come back, the toll that prison takes on body and soul, and how the inmates fight it.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Jeep Eagle.
Now save an additional $500 on new Jeep Wranglers.
All across America, more people repurchase Kenmore appliances than any other brand. In fact, over 1 out of 2 homes in the country count on Kenmore. Like this huge 21 cubic foot Kenmore top mount with a free $100 value factory installed ice maker. And our huge 20 cubic foot Kenmore side by side with through the door ice, crushed ice, and water dispenser. On sale now, during America's biggest appliance and electronics sale. Only at the store you trust.
From the lookout tower on Mount Black, you can see forever, which is just about the distance to a grocery store. So when you do make the trip out, you think harder about what you buy. You check the facts. And of the 50 leading cereals, you'll find only one that's low in sugar and a good source of fiber and made from whole grain oats. Cheerios. It makes sense to think harder about breakfast, especially when the breakfast table is 200 feet up. Choose smart. Choose Cheerios.
What's happened to these televangelists since primetime exposed the way they get money and live like kings? New information on our investigation. Primetime, Thursday.
I'm going to ask you something that seems totally indelicate, but because you and I have talked about it before, and because I know that it is a subject that's important not only to you, but to a lot of the women in there. And that has to do with constipation.
Almost every woman seems to suffer from it. I was too embarrassed to talk about it at first. It seems to start from the diet. It is also from the bathroom situation. When you first go in, the last thing you want to do is be on the toilet for a long time in front of a lot of other women.
I usually waited till between 1 and 2. And it's just gotten now, well, I go to the back, but I just don't care anymore.
So what was your solution?
There's a couple of soups. They sell them in grocery stores. Works better than any laxative. Maxwell House.
Inmates rely on the prison canteen not only for these home remedies, but also just to help them get through the day. The schedule is so unnatural, with breakfast served at 4:30 in the morning, lunch at 10:30, then dinner at 3:30, and it leaves a large chunk of time at the end of the day without food. Weekends are even worse, with only 2 meals being served a day. No one had told me ahead of time about the deadline for getting money into a canteen fund, and I was hurting.
I just interviewed one of the officers here for about 15 minutes. It went on and on largely because I could not stop because she's holding this peach that I'm smelling. My mouth is watering, and I'm going to go get something to eat right now.
People here have been really nice to me since I didn't get to go to the canteen the first week. I come back by my house, and people have just, left these things, or sometimes they walk by and they just throw them in my lap.
Money for the canteen comes from working jobs which pay up to 25 cents an hour, or from family and friends on a pre-approved list. Plus, there's a way to barter goods, and that's to engage in homosexuality. It's known as bulldagging.
It should be in terms of brown bagging. They come up here and they just get into this just to receive something out of it.
asked to the store or cigarettes, what they can get out of it.
How many women in here are involved in homosexual activity?
Half.
85%.
Really?
Honestly,
85%?
85% or more.
If they're not involved, they trying to get there.
Why?
They don't come here like that, but they see their friends like that, so they want to do what's going on in the group.
It's the basic talk of the penitentiary. Really.
It's a way of living in there.
It passes time.
I'm not a homosexual, but I am a flirt. There's a girl in the dorm club. I call her my dad. But I will flirt with that girl just to be flirting. I flirt with anybody.
It's a game to them. They come in here, it's like they're living in a soap opera. They're living in a different, some kind of play world.
It's hard because I feel that if you have a relationship here in prison and being around a bunch of other women, it's really difficult to really hold on to a relationship because there's so many other people that gets involved.
Right here. They do.
Water!
Meet Juice. Sometimes she's also called Juicy. Just for the record, I should say that Juice is the first person who approached me when I got here.
You did, didn't you?
I was serious about it, too.
Oh, God.
Because the first thing I'm thinking is this person can come here and you can still be on your job and be gay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, automatically, you coming from the free world and you ain't going to be here that long. I want to know what's up. You know, how did you feel when I approached you? What went through your mind?
I wasn't scared. I'm not sure what went through my mind, but my first reaction was just, to smile.
That's all you did. I mean, you didn't say it, you just... Because if you don't straight out tell them that you don't mess around, assume that they will. My assumption was, hey, maybe something can be happening there. You know what I'm saying? Because she didn't say no and she didn't say yes.
Is there a right way and a wrong way to deal with that?
Be straight, but then just have the self-confidence to not be intimidated. Everything worked out for me fine in that regard. Everybody respected my wishes. One day, however, I met a young woman who had recently been admitted and had just turned down her first proposition by a bulldagger. And apparently the way she said no and the fear I think she must have shown, because it was written all over her face even when she told me about it, was causing the women to make threats to her, verbal threats to her for days afterwards.
What's implicit in what you're saying is that some women are forced then to have lesbian relationships.
I don't think she'll ever be forced, but I think the bulldaggers will make her life very uncomfortable for the rest of her term.
When a muffler goes, some people look for a cheap replacement. Fact is, they can get a quality Midas muffler starting at $24.95. Fact is, a guaranteed economizer muffler starting at $24.95. Don't believe anybody ever beats Midas.
Of all the important safety features we put in the new Camry, some may seem a bit extravagant.
Stronger body construction, child protector rear door locks, rear seat headrests, adjustable front seatbelt anchors, standard driver's side airbag, available anti-lock brakes.
But when it came to safety, we didn't ask what it costs. We asked what it could save. The all-new 1992 Toyota Camry. We just couldn't leave well enough alone.
I think that people don't realize how much sugar they eat. You're more concerned about what you put in your car than what you put in your body. You got the sugar, you got the pink stuff, and you got the Equal.
Equal has the great taste of NutraSweet and no saccharin.
I choose Equal.
Ah, the Nature Valley Granola Bar. Such simple sweetness. Such enjoyable crunch. Once you come to know this wonderfully wholesome taste, you realize a Nature Valley Granola Bar could be the candy bar nature intended.
You'd like to see your neighborhood safe for all, right? What about wildlife? Shouldn't they live in safe zones, too? Watch Peter Jennings on ABC's World News tonight.
Are there social relationships among couples?
There are the relationships in which mates have whole families built around them. There are sons and daughters and grandmothers that run up to the beds every morning and say, "Hi, Dad," good morning, Dad.
We call each other wife, husband, mother, daughter, son. We have a state child, number 5 over in Minnesota, and that's the only one that we have. It's just me and Renee, Linda. And we have some that might call us mother and father, but they're not in the dorm with us.
You want to get out. You go back to your daughter. But then what happens to your family in here?
I have to let them go, because my family's more important to me out there than they are.
When a woman is incarcerated for whatever, the whole family seems to suffer.
That's what the judge told me when he denied me probation. He said, "I'm sure this is going to hurt your kids more than it is you. But this is the way it is."
The routine changes a little bit on the weekend mornings. The women get up earlier, some of them spending more time curling their hair and putting on makeup. It's visitation day. But for all the excitement that some of these women feel, others are pained by what the day will bring.
Looking at other people, seeing them getting ready, it makes you, feel down. And they going, and just to know they're gonna have a visit and you're not.
My little grandbaby.
You see somebody else's kids, it's heartache. But you learn to accept it, you learn to bypass.
This visitation is special because it's also an AIM Day, Aid to Inmate Mothers. Volunteers from around the state pick up children who otherwise might not get to see their mothers and bring them to the prison.
Most of the time, I'm thinking about what it's like to be here.
Work it out, Abraham, Abraham. Work it out. Work it out. Work it out.
I miss taking me shopping and stuff. I miss her buying me clothes. And I miss her not want her to come home.
Hey, y'all.
It's Saturday, a little after 1 o'clock, and visitation hours have just ended. This was a very happy time, but also sad. There's the woman who finds out from 2 daughters that the 3rd daughter may be being abused. There are the mothers whose dorms have been put on visitation hold because of disciplinary problems, and their relatives showed up today anyway and weren't allowed in. And then there are the relatives who are not direct family, and they have to stand at the fence and talk to the inmates from quite a distance.
You wouldn't be able to come this close unless there's a supervisor right there with you, and that's if you get special permission.
So I'd have to be like here.
A little bit further back. And about 3 more feet. Right there.
And this is the closest this is the closest you come to her?
That's as close as I can get.
If I said to you, Deanna, it's been a terrible mistake. You have been accused of and found guilty of a certain crime. You're going to have to do 5 years. What's the first thing that goes through your head now that you know what 5 years they would mean?
That everything that I value about myself and the person that I am would be lost. The fact that obviously I define myself by my work. Okay, all of that's gone. If I'm married, my husband may divorce me, and there's not anything I can do about it. My nephew may die, and I'm not going to be able to go to his funeral. Or my son may be hit by a car, and there's nothing I can do to try to get there to be with him and maybe make a difference in his living or dying. I'm not going to have any control over the people that define who I am, the physical things that define who I am. You cannot hold on to your individuality. And I'm going to turn into a person that is probably going to have a hard time functioning in the free world after the 5 years.
You're kidding me.
These people just found out they're the newest winners in the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes.
My heart is beating a mile a minute.
You could be our new $10 million winner if you enter our new sweepstakes fast.
He laughs at me, I send him in. He's not laughing now.
Ace Best Buys are easy to find. There's great values like these.
This Garrity Waterproof Tough Life Maxi Mini Combo is only $8.77, and the Rubbermaid 2-gallon beverage cooler is just $8.99.
Ace Best Buys. Another reason Ace is the place for you.
Well, when my Raymond gets constipated, I don't fool around. I give him Phillips milk of magnesia.
Aren't all those laxatives the same?
Oh, no, Phillips is the only one that suits that stomach acidy feeling Ray sometimes gets.
Maureen, put that away. Phillips quickly soothes your upset stomach. X-Lax and Correctol don't. Then Phillips relieves constipation overnight.
I think we should throw a party.
I know what you'd serve.
According to an independent test, when you accelerate in this Eagle Talon, things start to fall off.
Like what?
Nissan 240SXs, Celica GTSs, Thunderbird SCs.
What impresses me about this Eagle Talon is its intercooled turbocharger, anti-lock brakes, and four-wheel independent suspension.
And you're obviously familiar with these parts.
Yeah, I've lived here my whole life.
If you like Rice Krispies, try Triples. We think you'll do a... Triple take. Triples has tasty Rice Crisps, hearty Wheat Crisps, and sunny Corn Crisps, all together for a taste so good, so surprising, it'll turn your head.
Yeah.
Triples could have you doing a...
The Democratic Convention, what does it take to clean up New York when the whole world is watching? Then, fresh produce for those who need it most. But will the program grow on Good Morning America?
In part 2 of Deanna Lee's report, we'll take a closer look at what inmates fear. Deanna spends time in an isolation cell, and she faces prisoners who think she might have been a snitch. That comes up in the second part of Deanna Lee's stay at Tutwiler. That's our report for tonight. I'm Ted Koppel in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
This has been Nightline. If you wish a videocassette version of Nightline, the cost is $14.98 plus $3.95 shipping and handling. If you wish a printed transcript, please send $4 to Journal Graphics, 1535 Grant Street, Denver, Colorado, 80203.
Nightline is a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
Partly cloudy overnight, low in the 60s.